Okay guys, so what we're going to do today is show you how to GM mining and a recall miner at the same time. Now, as you'll notice, where I currently am is I am in the caves underneath Buck's Den. I am on the YeOldeSphere server. Feel free to use this miner wherever you are, or if you want to come over to YeOlde server, it's great. What I'm going to go ahead and do real quick is I'm going to get the mining gump out of the way. This server does have a mining gump for AFK prevention of gathering resources, and this is what it looks like. So let's type that in real quick, KSRQR. We're going to enter that in. Bang, now we're good to go. Now I am going to step by step this so that you understand everything I am doing. So I'm going to go over here to my recall mining macro. Let's jump right in and say first thing you want to do is mark some runes that are similar to this area right here, where you can walk north one tile at a time for, walk north one tile at a time for a good long way. Or if you want to do this where you're walking west, or if you want to do it south or east, it doesn't matter. Just mark you a couple of runes where you're walking in the direction. If you want to set up multiple macros, one for walking north, one for walking west, one for walking east, one for walking south, you can. So basically, I am not going to set this up for a loop because, as mentioned, this is a server that is anti-AFK gathering. But if you're smart enough, you can figure out how to loop, but don't get banned. If you get caught AFK too many times, you will get banned. So this is YeOlde server. Basically, I start off with if your mana is greater than less than 20, use skill meditation, pause for 20 seconds. When you recall in, because there will be PKs on this server, you want to make sure that you have full mana in order to get out, protect yourself and get out. And if you're sitting at the bank, as where I normally am, it will recall to just a random one of these runes and then bank. So you're here. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and recall back to bank. So we're at the bank. I'm going to hit play in just a second. And then as long as we are less than 380 in weight, because you want to be able to recall and run if you have to, you're going to use a shovel. You're going to target yourself. You're going to pulse 3.5 seconds. If the system comes up and says there's no metal, it's going to walk north once, and then it's going to continue and do that over and over and over. If you become overweight or close to overweight, it's going to cast a recall spell. It's going to target my rune book, which I have set to the bank as my default. So it will come here, it will open the bank, it will double click where I want to put all my ore. I will use the organizer agent and drop all the ore in to the bank, and then it'll come up and say next spot, sir. Now if you put this on loop, it will start right again and say, hey, if mana is less than 20, otherwise we're going to recall to the next place and do the same thing. So I will show you how this looks. So let's hit play. It's going to take us to the spot, and it's going to start mining. Now as you see, it's going to put all the ore into my bag right here, and I will show you the organizer agent at the end of the video. So basically, over and over and over, as you see, it's using that shovel, it's digging up ore, I'm getting ore, my weight's going up. Ore doesn't weigh a lot here right now, but it will. He will adjust that. So no metal to mine here. We're going to move forward one, and here we go, getting some more ore. I do not recommend starting off your character with 50 mining. Using this method, you can get to GM mining in a day. And if you don't know how to get to under the caves underneath Buck's Den. You can Google that. It's different in lots of places. On this server, I went in through the little tree entrance above the tavern in Buck's Den, fell right in, took a few minutes to get in there, marked the runes, and moved on. So as you see, weight's still going up slowly. Already at 119, 125, man, it's moving. So as far as doing a recall miner on this server, I'd recommend starting with majory at 50 and tinkering at 50. That way you can tinker your shovels from the ingots that you get. I do not recommend smelting any of your ingots if you can get by with it. If you can just use your starting gold to buy shovels, I would say wait until you are right around 70 mining to 80 mining before you start smelting anything. That way you can get 100%, or at least 99% of your ingots. You don't waste any of the ore. Now this is going to keep going. It's going to dig and dig and dig, and once it gets to 380, it's going to stop. It's going to recall. It's going to use my rune book, like I said, is defaulted at the bank. Once it gets to the bank, it's going to say banker bank, which is a command on Sphere to get the bank's attention. And then it's going to open up the box where I put my ore. And then it will tell me, okay, sir, we're ready for the next room. If you put it on loop, it will automatically do that. If you set your macro up like mine. I did use recall rune type to put my spots outside of the spell book. Outside of the rune book. There are ways for you to set this up to where it will use a spot in the rune book based on number of times. If you want to get really complicated with your macro, there's all kinds of crazy things you can do. You can get into scripting now, write JavaScript to go one rune after another. But this is a very simple, very quick, thrown together recall mining. You do still have to watch it. If you get to a point where you get to the end of your row and you haven't filled up, you don't want to waste the regs, so you'll just run your character back a little bit on a different row and it'll continue until it gets overweight. Pretty simple. I did GM mining in about 14 hours from zero using this method. I am targeting myself, which that does work on this server. Some servers you have to target the ground. If you target the ground in front of you and then set your target to relative location, it will work in the classic UO client. Did not prefer that method. So targeting self is the way that I did want to go with this one. Now we do have an active GM at Sphere, Soulless, who may at some point in time change the way this works. But as of July 2nd, 2021, this is the current way to quickly GM mining. With all you need is some recall regs, tinkering. That way you can make your own shovels because they do break. And this is pretty much the best way. You can use your starting money to buy some recall regs. Save up, get you a rune book with spell book with at least a recall spell in it. You don't really need any other spells. The rune books and the spell books on the server, they vary depending on which vendor you get them at. I've seen them as low as 10k gold. I've seen them as high as 25,000. So it just finds you a good spot. Probably not best for a character just starting. You probably want to have some kind of money making character to get you started with regs and rune book and spell book. As you see, we're fixing to hit 380 in just a second. It's going to know we're at 380, and it's going to recall. Tell the bank to open. It's going to double click my box, and then it's going to organize all of my ore into my box, and then it's going to say next spot, sir. Now, the way that we do this is you go into agents, you go into organizers, you go ahead and open up your bank. Go ahead and open up your bank. There we go. And I've set this as my bag. So if you see clear, I could clear it, and then I can set it. So now when you set this, it's going to automatically come in and want to put stuff there. I target the two different types of ore that I use most often, the small and the big. So that is how I normally go about doing it. As you can see, this is pretty lucrative. That 2,000 iron ore and several hundred of all the other ores is just a half a day of mining. That's watching it, it's getting up, having other things to do, but that's watching the macro, making sure that you don't get the gump, and then if I do get the gump, I clear it out. But that will take you to GM mining pretty quick. Enjoy.